Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a brand new edition of Rise of the Fan, brought to you by the Fan Action Nation. We thank you for tuning in today and making us part of your Saturday. I'm Aaron Phillips, the Hall of Famer. Across from me, sitting in the same type of uniform that I'm wearing, is Brett. Someday I'll be a Hall of Famer in my own mind. Lawson, good morning.
We can only hope, and good morning.
How are you?
I'm great. Third time's a charm.
Hey, everything happens in threes.
Right.
It's a good thing.
And here we are.
Here we are. Episode number 3 of Rise of the Fan. What is the show about? It's about giving you and me and everybody that's a sports fan a platform for an opportunity to voice your concerns that you may have about sports in general. Not on the field stuff, although we may bleed that in just a little bit, talk about how a coach are idiots every Monday. But no, this is about the things that affect us as sports fans that nobody really gives a darn about until now. Joining us here at the table for today's show is a gentleman who's no stranger to microphones, no stranger to sports talk. As a matter of fact, he could probably teach you and I a few things or three.
Definitely.
Mr. T.C. Martin joins us today. Good morning.
Hey, guys. Great to be here with you guys.
Thank you for
Aaron,
joining
Brett,
us.
Fantastic.
This is so cool to have. This is a seasoned professional guy.
We are now legit.
We are now legit.
We are solidified.
Absolutely. At least in our own minds, if nothing else.
Right.
You see him right there on the screen. He's got his own show, which we'll talk about for many, many, many long time. Actually, he's the innovator of sports talk, many believe, giving us the opportunity to do what we do and many others in the sports talk world, talking on the radio about what we love.
Absolutely. In the first 2 weeks, we have talked so much about how important it is to have that representation and to have that active voice for all of fandom through the media. And, you know, when you start a project like this, it's a little hard to get traction with some of those guys, those personalities, with those radio and TV networks, with those big digital outlets. But now, having a voice and having a face like T.C. Martin joining us today, that's going to be monumental. So thank you, T.C.
I appreciate it, guys. Great to be here.
You have your first official welcome from a dear friend of ours, Lisa Mascari. She's one of our sponsors here at Hand and this is what we call a plug, Hand and Stone
There
Massage
you go.
and Facial Spa. We have some gift cards from her, which we'll give at least one away today. But she says hello in the chat room. 702-329-6947 is our phone number. Press the number 1 to come direct into the studio. If you're outside the United States, of course, 1-855-502-4321. And there you see the numbers. Right? He doesn't even bring them up next to me anymore. There you go, right down there. Oh, see, right there. I'm getting better at this. It's like the weather guy.
I feel like I'm doing a telethon here. You know?
That's right, exactly. Let's go to the tune board, Jimmy. There you go. 8555. Now, more importantly, or just as important, while we're talking here, go visit jointhefan.com. Check what we're all about. We're going to talk about, but more importantly, we need you to join. We want you to join our revolution and be part of the voice. We are rising as fandom, right?
Absolutely. This podcast is a huge part of it. But what we have here are the beginning steps, the early phases. We can't get to where we want to be without your involvement, without your membership. We like to think of this as a hub, as a platform. Well, without your voices, this is null and void. We need you to get involved in this fight, in this revolution, so we could accomplish what we want. Because without that active role by everyone who calls themselves a fan, we're going to fall short.
Absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, I have another challenge for anybody out there. The first show that we did a couple of weeks ago, we actually had a couple of members join while we were on the air,
Right off the bat,
which was terrific. And courtesy of Hand and Stone, conveniently located at 1150 Silverado Ranch at the corner of Silverado Ranch Boulevard and Maryland. I've been there a few hundred times. Great massage. I was there just past Tuesday, by the way. I didn't want to get off the table.
Yeah.
Hot stone.
If
80
you could,
minutes.
you'd still be there right now.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring my laptop, and I'm going to do it from the table at Hand and Stone. You'll be in here, and as a Hall of Famer, I'm going to get my massage.
That's correspondence right there. That's on-the-spot reporting.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
in-depth reporting at its absolute best. Anyway, so if anybody joins today during the show, you have 1 hour, okay? And we get notified. We want you to jump in the chat room. Let us know you've become a member at $59.99, which, of course, is the best membership. You get all the perks. And it's one time, right? One-time membership. You don't have to keep paying it.
You're good to go once you're in.
Like I now do with all my streaming services on my TV. But anyway, you will get a massage. You will get a certificate for 1 hour, 50 minutes, $59.99 value for that, for the price of becoming a lifetime member.
Absolutely.
So join now.
And you welcome yourself to all the content, all the access, all the resources that we are going to have for you. And more of that is surfacing by the week. So it's an exciting time for the fan and for newcomers who are both learning about what we have through the podcast and seeing themselves when they get online at jointhefan.com.
Right on. There you go. Now, TC, I'm going to ask you a question, sir. I know you're a loyal fan of sports, obviously.
Obviously.
And somehow Andy twisted you. I mean, actually talk to you about the fan. No, seriously, I'm only kidding. As a fan, though, okay, what are some of the things within the sports universe that, as a fan's perspective, that you wish that you had more voice and more power to say, you know what, I really don't like this. I wish I could do this. Give me some idea as to where you sit as a fan and the issues that bother sports fans today from the business side.
I think what bothers fans and what kind of bothers me a little bit too is the escalating salaries and that sort of thing. That people get a little too wrapped up with that, and I can understand that. I mean, especially with salaries in all sports, the way they're escalating, and a lot of fans can't relate to. The money that these players are making these times too, and also from a business side, from the owners as well too. There seems to be a real disconnect. You're either on the side of the owners or you're on the side of the fans, and that's a problem. And it continues to get worse and worse, or more of the gap starts to widen as the years go on as well too. And I think that is a big concern. And you lose a lot of fans, because of those aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think your history as a sports fan, of course, you're a noted broadcaster, both the local and national level, commentator, talk show host, but do you think your role as a fan initially, as a fan first, has allowed you to kind of get some clarity on these issues? Because sometimes, even in media, us as broadcasters, we like to think we have our thumb on everything, but with even salaries in TV and radio and some of these national guys who have such high influence and such big impact, sometimes they get a little disconnected from the fan. I think that's safe to say. How important do you think it is for you as a broadcaster to remain close to the fan at their roots?
Yeah, I think it's very important. And again, you got to put yourself in the fans' position. And I've always tried to be one of those guys where I did not want to come across really as a fan in the media, because I have, basically when you cover a team and you are in that locker room, and I had the privilege of covering the Green Bay Packers for 12 years and being involved in that organization. And really, you kind of lose a little bit of your fandom. And, when you're in that locker room and you see the business side and you see the way ownership and management kind of treats the players. And I can just say from my own personal experiences, I've become very, very close, with a lot of players. And then to see guys get released and to see how it affects them, especially in the NFL, when you have non-guaranteed contracts. A lot of people don't understand that. They think, oh, this guy just signed a $30 million contract.
Locked in stone, right?
Yeah, they think, and not at all. I mean, I have been with players days that they have gotten cut. I sat with one player in his car while he had to call his mother and say, "Mama, I don't have a job anymore."
Wow.
And it's over just like that. And it's a ruthless business. So I've kind of tried to take myself away from that. And in the media, when you attend these games, you cannot wear the colors of that team.
You have to be unbiased.
You have to be unbiased.
Right.
And I kind of learned that way the hard way when I first got in the business. When I tell you a quick little story. When I went to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and here I'm a California guy who just got the job in Green Bay, and I'm going to the game, and it's about 55 degrees, and I've got my Packer parka that I'm wearing up to the press box. Number one, people are laughing at me like, it's 55, it's beautiful today. What are you going? I go, well, I'm used to California and Las Vegas, where it's cold if it's below 70. It's one of those things like, hey, you can't wear this gear here. You got to be impartial.
Yeah.
So at a young age, I learned that hey, you have to be impartial.
Right.
And then again, it's hard to be a fan in that situation, where there are a lot of guys in my position that come across and they're openly saying, hey, this is my team, I'm a Yankee guy and this and that.
Right.
And that really comes across bad as well too, because then again, you got to remember, not everyone is a Yankee fan.
Right.
So you
Although
got.
I don't know why they wouldn't be.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know
Why
what I'm
not?
saying?
You're preaching to the choir.
I'm just
here.
using that as an
Oh,
example,
okay.
but you know what I'm saying.
But I love, because you mentioned there how there is a balance and how there can be a genuine love for sports and an interest for these athletes and everything that goes into their livelihood and their just overall careers. But you also say how there has to be a limit, and you kind of have to know when to pump the brakes and know how to know when to separate the emotion from again, logical.
See, for myself, I've become more of a fan of the sport over the years than I have of the team. And again, a lot of that is because what I said, because of the disconnect that you have between ownership and players. And again, if we go back old school years and years ago, players were with teams and with franchises for an entire career or maybe half of their career. And now they're signing, these 2 and 3 and 4 year deals. After that, you have no idea. And there's this big, like I said, disconnect between, loyalty with fans and players and the overturning roster. And I think it's very, very irritating to a lot of fans in that perspective. So again, I love sports. I love all sports. But I found myself, especially here living in Las Vegas, the added joke is if you're wagering on sports, like, well, who's your favorite team? I'll say, okay, well, it's the University of Kentucky. Well, why do you like them? Well, they're the last team that covered for me.
Your money.
Exactly. So there's that aspect of it as well, too.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, how you have to divest yourself from your own personal interest. But from a journalistic standpoint, like I said, it makes total sense where you have to report on the there was one guy you mentioned, and I'm going to kind of digress because I can. Hawk Harrelson from the White Sox. Right. He was one. I mean, you talk about homers, like you were talking about.
Big time homer, right?
And he didn't hide it at all.
Right.
But as a fan of the White Sox, you loved it. But as a non-fan of the White Sox, I turned it off whenever I heard him.
Exactly.
I could not deal with it. Now, as a Yankee fan, we know our guys can be homers, especially in the old days. Frank Messer, Bill White, Phil Rizzuto.
And when you're listening to a local call, obviously, in that broadcast, in the broadcasting realm, anything local's obviously going to have that bias.
As well it should be on a local front, right?
Right.
So,
well, you know,
to an extent, I think.
And I have to deal with that myself, broadcasting the Las Vegas Aces. And I really try to make myself as impartial as I can. But, of course, you're going to have that emotion when the Aces score or they have a rally and they come back. And, again, you are broadcasting to the home fans. But, you know, there have been other guys that you know, colleagues of mine in the markets where it just, hey, you've got to just tone this down.
Right.
And, again, so especially if you're doing a playoff game or something like that, you have to give credit to the opposition, especially if they make a fantastic play as well too. But there are so many people in this industry that will turn around and just act like they're disgusted when the other team scores or has a fantastic play.
I always thought there was like a difference between getting excited for something that's happening in your market, in your backyard, because that is your listenership or your viewership, than actually bashing the opposition for whenever something productive happens for them.
And, you know, and just to take it to another degree here, and he's a very good friend of mine who does the PA announcing for the Golden Knights. You know, when the opponent will score a goal, they'll just be talking like this and that, and you can't even understand what's going on. And as a media member, you're in the press box, and we're trying to figure out, well, who scored that goal? We don't know. But then, you know, scoring for your Golden Knights. It's very loud and very clear. You know, so you get that. And again, as an objective media guy, you want to say, okay, let's just find the balance. But when the home team or the team that you're covering, raise it up a notch, but just don't be disparaging or insulting to the opponent, because it really doesn't make you look good.
No, it doesn't. And in that, it doesn't make you look good, as well as possibly the franchise, as you're the voice of the face of that logo that you're reporting on. It's just interesting how over the years, you know, as our society changes, we want immediate satisfaction. We need to be involved. How the voice of the fan, so to speak, has been neglected, like you talked about, rising salaries. Okay, if you had a seat at the table with all the negotiators and you're sitting there to help control salaries, and we're just going to use that as an example here in our conversation, what could be done from a fan perspective? What, not show up and you know, to the games anymore? They tried that. What could we as a fan do to help control those prices on those salaries,
you know,
if anything at this point?
And I don't know if there is an answer for that, because fans have been battling that for decades and decades. And as you know, and you brought it up, you know, fans have tried to stay away. They say, we're going to boycott. We don't like the salaries, or we don't like the moves that this team is making, whether they feel their teams are tanking or they're, you know, raising concession stand prices or parking prices and that sort of thing. And, you know, they do have a voice, but the problem is you'd really have to do it unilaterally. I mean, everybody has got to step up and do this. And again, you know, the form that you guys are creating here, I mean, that's a step. And again, to find solidarity and have everybody in as one. Because I'll use a term that the Golden State Warriors coined years ago, and they used to wear the T-shirts, something called strength in numbers. When the Warriors the players would wear that as their warm-up jerseys, and that being their logo, it wasn't about the players. And a lot of people thought that was about the players. That was about the fans. That was a tribute to, you know, the 17,000 plus that would pack Oracle Arena and now, you know, into the Chase Center, even though the fans really aren't allowed there. And our good friend Andy knows all about that, being a Warriors season ticket holder. But really, that strength in numbers, that's what that is a tribute to. It's about the fans.
And I mean, you see now with several fan bases going off the 12th man. There's everyone has their way of getting the fans more incorporated into the action, which is so ironic when those, you know, I guess you could say 4-0 goes on the clock and the contest is over, then they're suddenly forgotten about. They're not as important. You know, then they're just spectators who fill a venue. But while that game was going on, while that fight was going on, while that match or tournament was going on, they sure seem to be much more important.
No, absolutely. And you mentioned the 12th man. I mean, Seattle Seahawks, the whole stadium is the 12th man.
Well, Texas A&M, the exact same thing.
They were like the innovators of it. Right.
All right, with that, we got a couple of messages we need to deliver. First and foremost, let's give TC Martin a toast from Squid Cup. Because they provide us some of the best products here. Talk about the cup, man. I mean, I have I like to call it a coolie, whatever they call these things.
I think koozie's still
Koozie?
Yeah.
Koozie's
It's still
alive
koozie,
and well.
right.
Is that the
That's
word
right.
nowadays?
It's hip.
Yeah.
All I know is it's keeping my water cold. That's the important part. And they got these great magnets here on the bottom so that if for whatever the reason the table falls over,
Yeah, it's
right?
not just a catchy little name. These
No,
are
it's-
actually legit suction cups.
And there's magnets in there, I think, too. But anyway,
Yep.
so we're going to raise a toast here to TC for joining us today because I'll tell you what, we're
Absolutely.
going to learn a lot from him today. So, but yeah, thank you, Squid Cup, because it's keeping my water cold, and I've got 2 more shows to do after this. So,
No, and it's great for the boat, for land, anywhere. It's perfect.
absolutely. Right on. So thank you, Squid Cup. SquidCup.com, is that the website for them?
You got it.
SquidCup.com?
Yep.
What is it again?
Squidcup.com.
There you go.
And
3 times the charm.
Right. And Aaron, it was in 1988 when Wahoo's was started by the Lee brothers in Costa Rica, California. They had a desire to blend their unique heritage of food experiences and bring them to the table for others to enjoy and feel more alive. With 5 convenient locations throughout the Las Vegas Valley, there is no reason for you to miss out on the great taste at Wahoo's. As if that wasn't enough, you can take advantage of the $2.95 Pacifico all-day, everyday special. To find your nearest location, simply visit wahoo.com. And TC, are you a fan of Wahoo's?
Big time.
Big local foodie, right?
Big time.
Yeah.
I'm a big foodie, as a lot of people know, and exactly. And when it comes to tacos,
They're great.
Are you kidding me? Outstanding stuff.
Exceptional.
Yeah.
Now, you did mention the $2.95 special all day, every day.
Which may even be better than the tacos.
Well, I'm not a drinker. I can't anymore.
Okay,
So,
okay.
But I like the tacos.
Teach
though.
your own, teach your own.
But they also have, if you sign up and become a member through their website, not only do you get all the great benefits, but they will match $25. They have a match play program that you get in, you join your membership for $25. They will match that $25, give you $50 worth of stuff as you become a member. So make sure you visit Wahoo's. I always want to say Yahoo, but that's not right.
That's a little more dated.
I just dated myself, didn't I? Wahoo's.com. We want to thank them for joining as well. Now, I see over my left shoulder, through the corner of my eye over here, that Andy is standing up. Is he about to hit us or something?
I think he's thrilled. He's loving the way it's going, and he loved the little warrior anecdote there.
Of
from
course. Well,
TC,
listen.
right?
Well, and there's a reason for that. And we'll get to it in a second. Now, also too, we've got to mention. You want to grab yours?
Oh, absolutely.
TC. I was just going to try to put it on over my earphones.
I'll get the
Good
cans
luck
on.
But
with
that's
that,
right.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
You do the
get
commentary. I'll do the visuals.
Okay, good. Good, because these are a little small. So anyway, so we're donning more of our uniform here. Brett is showing the wonderful new face mask that you can be safe with and keep your social distance. And, of course, promote the fan. JoinTheFan.com. They're available on our website. And I believe these are hot off the presses, right?
Yeah,
I think
and
we got
perfectly comfortable.
hopefully comfortable.
Okay, perfectly
Oh,
comfortable.
perfectly comfortable.
That's
okay.
a good thing, though. If it's that muffled, that nothing's getting through there.
That's right.
Right.
But it does have the slots for filters, so some people do like to put their filters in there, and I know TC's got
No,
one.
this is some serious high quality. I
Isn't
got to
it?
tell you, this is high rent district stuff right here.
We spared
That makes
every
it
expense for these.
Totally protective here, and again, and fancy looking as well too.
That's right.
We're
JoinTheFan.com.
That's
Go,
science.
go to the what is it called? Is it the shop tab? I don't know. There's so many changes going on the website.
Yeah, you go
But
to
the merch
go to the
tab,
store
the store.
tab in the join
Right.
jointhefan.com.
Get a hat, you get a shirt, you can get one of these beautiful masks. We need, you know what we need? With all due respect to you, showing it, Sarah needs to come in here and model.
Oh yeah, so she's the brainchild.
Absolutely, she's doing. We got to get
genius.
We got to. Okay, Lisa Mascari is just yelling in the chat room that she's ordering the mask. She will. She will have about a dozen of these probably in her
Lisa's
store within
putting
a couple
the
of
team
days.
On, the show on her back.
That's
this
it.
Is our
Listen.
team.
Lisa.
Well, as a
Without
matter,
the cult jam.
but I'm going to tell you what though.
You know what I'm talking about with that.
It's good reference.
What part of town do you live in?
I'm a Green Valley guy.
You
Henderson
are.
guy, yeah.
Do you go to massage and relax a little with all the stress of the world?
Matter of fact, I don't know when to give a little plug there, but yeah, I've had a great massage.
Have you gone to Hand and Stone?
I have not gone there.
Well,
no.
here you go. If I didn't give you one of these, Lisa would yell at me.
Are you serious?
So that's a $59.99 gift certificate. Go down, try 50-minute massage, anything that you want. You just use that.
Hand and Stone. I have the big 7-footer, Big Bill Cartwright in town, and he was just asking me, where can I go get a massage?
Well,
and,
you
and
go
I was
here,
trying.
you-
I was trying to hook up the
here.
7-footer because he goes, I need to get stretched out. I mean,
You go
this
with
guy's
him.
got
Here you go.
He's got raging NBA injuries here.
That's right. Well, you go with them.
And I think that's because Andy went head to head with him back in high school in the day.
I heard that story.
Even though Andy, I think, went scoreless in the big 7-footer, had 37.
Well,
that
though,
night.
when
But
you,
anyway, that's
when you
another
have
story.
when you have Andy tell the story, he was the MVP of the game and scored 50 points against
and
Cartwright
locked him down. Right.
and locked him down.
that's what
Right.
he'll tell you, right?
So that's what I'm saying. That's his version of the story.
And
Exactly.
you've been hanging out with the 7-footer all week. Is that correct?
Yeah. We go way back, and
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed, when I lived back east, seeing him with the Knicks and everything, and all that great stuff. So it would be great. Maybe someday we can look, meet him. Anyway, Lisa says She'll call her direct. I'll give you her number. She'll make the appointments with you guys, and you will absolutely love it. There you go.
Nice.
So now you got Bill
Thank you,
Cartwright,
Lisa.
and you got T.C. Martin coming down. What's better than that?
Episode 3 is a good one.
It is so far, right? Let's get it. You know what? I mean, we kind of touched on his resume, and I asked for his bio and everything so I can use as an introduction. But we've kind of touched on a little bit of everything in his background. I mean, you've been doing this since 1992. You've kind of been a frontier guy in the world of sports talk and giving venues like this an opportunity. How did you get into it back in 92? How did you know it was your calling?
Wow, that's I go back. When I was in high school, I was always a big music and sports guy, and that was my love. So I started actually DJing in the music side when I was in high school, and then back in those days, you didn't have to go get an FCC radio license.
Right, that was a big deal.
Way back on those deals, and it wasn't easy as well too. So that kind of catapulted me into that, and so I was in the music industry and DJing clubs and radio and that sort of thing.
Give me your FM DJ voice.
My FM DJ voice? There you go. Oh, I can start rhyming and rapping because I'm an old school R&B guy. So I'm saying, hey, you got the pride in the stride, the glide in the stride, move to the groove to the funky sound that's all around. T.C. Martin is in your town. And don't forget, T.C. and the Soul Patrol's fabulous funk show coming to your town. Yeah.
Did you do Quiet Storm? Did you do Quiet Storm?
It's Quiet Storm is too mellow for me.
That's a little too chill. I was going to say, if you did Quiet Storm, you'd be like the most intense Quiet Storm DJ ever. In a good way.
Quiet Storm, that's jazz. That's a little too mellow for me. I mean, old school R&B. I'm a funk guy, man.
Can't you tell this guy? He's got the energy. Old blues and jazz is not for him.
The sun was still up whenever he was broadcasting.
There you go.
The FM stations, right.
Exactly. So how did you transition into the sports?
So transition into sports, kind of funny, crazy story that there was a national sports talk show that was airing in my market in Sacramento when I was going to college. And so these guys were talking about, picks and that sort of thing. And I said, I'm going to call this show and start, giving my picks and everything. And I already had a sports background. I was doing some reporting and that sort of thing. And then next thing you know, they said, okay, who's calling? And just off the top of my head, I said, well, this is the doctor. And they go, the doctor? What the heck is the doctor? And then I remember calling in and said, okay, who do you like this weekend? We're doing college football. And I gave like 3 plays, and I started doing my music, rhyming and rapping, that sort of thing. They said, wow, this is pretty good. Well,
you were giving your picks in rhyme?
I was giving my picks.
In rhyme?
Yeah, in rhyme.
Wow.
Exactly. And
that's
they go, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So sure enough, knock on wood, I don't know what happened, but I went 3-0 that week. And they go, hey, you got to call us back, next week. So that sort of thing happened. Next thing you know, they invited me to Las Vegas to do a guest appearance.
Oh, wow.
And next thing I know, I'm getting picked up in the airport in limousines. We're doing a meet and greet at the Gold Coast. There's like hundreds of people that are there. And then so I said, okay, I'm going to take this doctor thing to a new level. So I showed up with the doctor's greens and all that sort of thing. And next thing you know, I get a job offer on this national network to start doing my show.
Right on.
And again, it was more than just, the fandom, because I did have this radio background as well too.
Right.
And then so when I went home that weekend, I was planning on going home. They said, we want to offer you a job doing your own show. And I go, okay, when does this start? They go, tomorrow.
There you go.
Nice warning.
So that was it, and then the rest was kind of history, from there. So that started in 1992. I was here in Vegas from 92 to 98 doing, my show on a national network as well as locally. And then, as you know, in this business, sometimes these jobs don't last a long time, and you got to travel around the country and that sort of thing. And so, I went from Sacramento to Green Bay, Wisconsin, and came back to Las Vegas here in 2015. And that's how that all started. And then again, I've always wanted to do play-by-play, and I got the opportunity years ago to be the voice of the Las Vegas Aces, because every market that I have been to, they always had a guy doing it for like 20 years. And it's like, how am I going to
break in?
How do you break in?
Right.
So, very fortunate, very blessed, a lot of hard work, but I went to school for this. I went to school for sports broadcasting, for sports journalism in Sacramento. And again, so anyone who is looking to get into this business, get that degree, go to school. If you got kids that are interested in the business, really there's nothing like a college education and get a communications degree. And so I kind of knew from the very beginning in high school what I wanted to do. So I was fortunate enough to go from there.
It's interesting because you make a great point there, especially in local broadcasting with play-by-play announcers. There's so much tenure, so much tradition. It's often hard to displace those guys, like you said. And you went to school for broadcasting, for media. This was something you wanted to do all along, as you just alluded to. But what I love is that without that core fandom, in a way, this opportunity may have I'm not going to say never would have happened for you, but at least not this way, because you were someone who prepared yourself for a career in broadcasting and to be a professional. Yet in many ways, the opportunity came about itself because you took the moment to be a fan just in those small little instance, and it propelled you into a career that is actually relevant to both you as a fan and as a journalist and a broadcaster.
100% correct on that.
That's really interesting to me because, in media, it's often there's such a hierarchy. And for fans, they often think they can't get into that because they're too far removed. Where you're an example of all you got to do is have that little bit of work ethic and dedication, and the rest is just there to take, I guess you could say, chomp at the bit.
Yeah, that's true. It's very true. And there's a couple colleagues of mine that kind of went through a similar situation as well, too. And that's how sometimes it happens. It's again, you make up a great point about the fan.
I just want to remind everybody, if you join the fan right now, go to jointhefan.com. You sign up to become a member, and you let us know within the next 34 minutes. You'll get also a certificate. Maybe you can join TC and Bill Cartwright and going down to Hand and Stone and get a massage and relax. And there's also a QR code there. He's going to test me right away and see if I do it right the first time. There you go. Look at that. I'm getting it. Right there. There's your QR code. Scan that during the live show.
That'd be a heck of a third wheel, too.
I know. Now he just moved it. See, now he's moving it on me. See, now he's playing with me. See, it's over there, right there. Anyway, scan that. That'll take you right to jointhefan. He messes with me all the time. Jointhefan.com. Go there now. You become a member. Plus, there's a lot of great stuff on the website. A lot of great content, which I believe, Mr. Brett, you, sir, are participating with some blog posts. Is that right?
Yes,
on our blog
sir.
site?
And multiple ideas starting to take form, concepts taking shape. We're going to have blogs, videos, social media, all kinds of stuff that is going to tackle different, I guess you could say, different avenues of what we want to accomplish here as a banner. We talk about how broad we are. In many ways, when you're broad, it means you don't have the right tactical approach. You have a lack of a plan. We don't. We're broad because we are covering things across the board, across the spectrum, and we attempt to do that ultimately through content first, because it's our content that is going to get our voice and our name out there to you.
Absolutely. A couple of quick shout-outs here coming up in the chat room. Want to give a shout-out to Stacy Simpson. She is watching from Sacramento. Nancy Gabriel in the house.
Hometown.
There you go.
All
yeah,
right.
Absolutely. And Nicole Taylor Sharp is in the chat room, someone I've known from networking for many, many, many years. Good to see these familiar names in there. We thank you for watching. Please reshare our feed to everybody on your list who may or may not be a sports fan. You don't know if they are or not. They could be closet sports fans like my wife was when I first met her. She didn't know what a softball was till I taught her. Now she's doing CrossFit with me.
She's grateful, I bet.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. But
right.
Yes, she anyway, go there. Go to jointhefan.com. You have 32 minutes. Get a certificate for Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa as part of your membership. All right. We have about another minute or two before we go to the top of the hour break. So, when you see stuff, TC, I want to get your take on this as to things that are developing down at LSU right now from the Les Miles years when he was there, some violations and stuff. As a fan on the collegiate level, okay, how does that impact the alumni base and the fan base, do you think? Obviously this was going on. The stuff was being hidden from all reports. How does the fan base handle that?
Yeah, it's hard. It's embarrassing is what it is. Again, these college fans, especially down south in the SEC country, they are so fired up and they're so passionate about what happens, here. And whether it's a player, whether it's a coach or administrator, when you have these off-the-field incidents like this, it's pretty crushing and brutal. And as we know, like I said, in the SEC, this is what these guys live for. There's not a lot of pro franchises, down there. I mean, you look at, you've got the Atlanta Falcons, you've got, in the LSU case, you've got the Saints,
right.
And that's about it. But still, I mean, these universities, especially if you went to school there, that is your life and blood, and it's 24/7. You live that, and these guys take it very, very, very hard. And again, we're never going to probably get away with this, get through this type of thing, because with social media, it just comes to light more and more. And a lot of this stuff got buried where a lot of people wouldn't know about it. So that is one good thing about social media. It brings light to it, because if Les Miles did do these things, or anybody do these things, and we go back to the Penn State situation.
I was just going to bring it up, and as an alumni, I was hoping you would have skipped over that.
See,
it's hard to ever gloss over that again, right?
I was shocked.
And you're the butt of all these jokes, and if you're an alumni, you're a fan, you've got to deal with that probably for the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
So as you know, as a fan, that's very hard to deal with, because they take it very, very personal. But
absolutely,
what can you do?
And Lisa Mascari is also an alumni of Penn State. When we come back on the other side, I'm going to share a little funny anecdote about what happened to me when all that news broke about Sandusky and Penn State. As I was driving home on the 95, I'm going to share a little story, so I hope the police officer's not watching. But anyway, you're watching, what's the show? Rise of the Fan. Yeah, that's the show. We got some messages from some great sponsors. We will be back in 90 seconds.
Get ready to kick off with Football Darts. Football Darts is the revolutionary new game that lets you play the game of football on a dartboard. Anything you can do in a real game, you can do with Football Darts. Kickoff, throw or run for yardage, kick field goals, even turnovers. Football Darts is the perfect game for football fans. Play at tailgates, at home, at work, even remotely. Find your team at footballdarts.com or online at your favorite store. It's almost like being in the action at the stadium. Get ready to kick off with Football Darts.
When you think of relaxation, do you think of a massage? If not, you should. Las Vegas Hand and Stone Massage at Silverado Ranch provides professional spa experiences at affordable rates. You will be enveloped in soothing sounds and aromas on your way to total relaxation. De-stress with our full-body massage to relieve tension, soothe tired muscles, and temper migraines. You can select from many options, including CBD, deep tissue, sports, and our signature hot stone massage. Call 702-941-7833 and start de-stressing today.
P4P Therapeutics has created high-quality CBD products from 100% organic industrial hemp and are tested for purity and potency. Our products were specifically formulated with boxing champ Mikey Garcia in mind, as well as maximum benefit for recreational athletes and all consumers. From gummies and gel capsules to lemongrass soothe bombs to potent CBD oil tinctures, we have you covered. To see our entire line of available products, visit pfpcbd.com and place your order today.
Boy, Mikey Garcia, reminding you, pound for pound CBD, all natural, effective.
All right, welcome back to Rise of the Fan. I'm Aaron Phillips. That is Brett Lawson, and joining us in today's hot seat, really the man who inspired the ability for us to do what we do in talking sports, Mr. T.C. Martin joins us here today, and a lot of great stuff. We left off, we were talking about Penn State, and yes, I'm an alumni, and you brought it up, and I was going to bring it up as well, so I'm glad you did. So all this news is breaking, right? And I'm driving home, I forgot from where, I'm going up 95 because I live off Cheyenne and 95 area,
And
right?
just to set the time, we're going back to 2011.
Right, yeah, so we're talking about 10 years ago, and this was something that I even told my wife about. That tells you how important it was. I told her what happened. So I'm driving up 95, and I'm listening to all the sports talk. I think I was listening to ESPN, and they're into it with Sandusky and Joe Paterno, what this means, and blah, 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 blah. I was so invested in the conversation that I didn't realize how fast I was going up 95. And not that I'm the only one that does this, but I guess whatever the reason, my car stood out. So sure enough, a cop pulls up behind me, you know, and I honestly, on my mother's life, I tell you, I had no idea how fast I was going because I was so engulfed in the conversation.
Right. So
he pulls me over and he says, do you know how fast you were going? And I said, honestly, no. I said, because I said, I'm a Penn State alumni, and I think I even had a sticker on my car, and I'm so engrossed with what's happening. I got to be honest with you, officer, totally oblivious to my speedometer because I was listening to it. And he goes, well, you were doing like 85 coming up to 95. I'm like, oh my God, you know, and this was, you know, I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I honestly, so he looks at me, looks at my resume, and jokingly says, well, he says, with everything that's going on at Penn State, I'll give you a break. Just watch your speed. I'm like, yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it.
So in the worst story, at least one of the worst stories in the history of sports, you got somewhat of a perk.
I did. I got a small little perk. And let me tell you, I did about 45 the rest of the way going home on the 95 because I wasn't taking it. That wouldn't be the first time. Well, that's a whole nother story for getting stopped by the same cop twice in the same day within 3 hours. That goes back like 20, almost 30 years ago. I'll share that on another day.
I love how they always ask you, do you know how fast you're going? I'm like, don't patronize me.
I know, right?
Why don't you tell me so we can get this going?
Let's get it going. Here's
you could be on your way, I could be on mine, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So anyway, let's see if the Cole Taylor Sharps, he says, that's better than showing cleavage. I would not have gotten out of there with my cleavage, that's for darn sure. Anyway, even telling him I was that was a 2011, you said?
2011.
Yeah, that was before I became a Hall of Famer. That wouldn't have helped either. But anyway.
Long before I became a wannabe Hall of Famer.
That's right, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. All right. So listen, you know, one of the things we love talking about is some of the things that you as fans want us to talk about, want to address. And, of course, we have a post up on our fan page. Go to it, you know, Fan Action Nation. Don't do it right now unless you pull up another window if you're watching us. If you're driving, though, and you have the downloadable Go Live Vegas app, that's cool. But don't bring up the thing now. We want to know what topics are of interest to you. And we did get one last week. We didn't address it, so I saved it for this week with TC because I think he'll be great at this. We actually had a question. What should Major League Baseball do about teams that manipulate service time regarding their prospects? Okay? I think it's valid. We know it's a financial thing. They want to control the time, how much time you have to go get called down. But as a fan, if I want to see somebody up there perform, I want to see them perform on the major league level. We're lucky that we have the Aviators here, and we see them. Well, I think that I just heard they just got delayed too. Didn't the start of minor league ball just got delayed? But what's your thoughts on things like that, where how teams manipulate playing time for the betterment of the team financially?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you go back, the famous one obviously is Chris Bryant, with the Cubs, and you go through that, and I know Cubs fans were just really, perplexed about that. But again, when you look at the business side of it, I mean, ownership has every right to do that as long as, everything is written the way it currently is at this point in time right now, and you feel bad for the player. Now, fans are going to feel probably more bad for the player because there's more connectivity with fans and players than there are with the management side there. But this is something that will continue to get noticed, and more people will talk about. But when Chris Bryant came up, no one exactly knew what was going to happen. Now, people here in Las Vegas knew because the great prep career he had and that sort of thing, along with Bryce Harper.
Yep.
But when you're intentionally doing it, it just rings a bad sense to it. When you have a guy that in that situation when he was coming up, he hit like 450 in spring training, and you knew all about this guy. Like, oh, he's going to be, our third baseman of the future. This is our guy. He's going to start in the minors, and we are going to wait till, that 15th day, and then we're going to bring him up. I mean, you're intentionally keeping him back, for that time period, and then the moment that you can bring him up, you're going to do it, and to save yourself some money, and then he's going to be penalized not to get free agency the next year. To take 1 year off. I mean, that's, it just rings badness, from a fan's perspective there.
Not a good look.
Not a good look at all. No. And then now you have this animosity now going 4 or 5 years, forward with Bryant. It's like, okay, do I want to come back to this franchise? Because I'm going to go back. I was so excited to sign this deal with them. I was so excited to start my major league career in the bigs. And now you're going to say, oh, I got to go down to the minors, and now you're going to bring me up. Now I've got to wait a year and to really get paid.
But yet he has stuck it out though. Now he has stuck it out.
He has stuck it out. But if you talk to him and and his family, they're not happy about the situation. Again, there was that. You didn't know what was going to happen. This year. Okay, is he going to threaten to sit out? Was he going to demand a trade? What the deal was? But he took the high road. But more than likely, he signs this 1 year deal. More than likely, he's not going to be a Cub next year.
Right.
Now, it's interesting, and I love the fact that was actually brought up as a question, and I'm happy we kind of 86'd it to this week, because it's always been relevant, and it's interesting with baseball that separates itself from other sports, how with that farm system and with the minors, there's so much affiliation that it's different when you have basketball prospects and football prospects who are coming from a different entity. Again, Division I basketball, FBS football very much are the farm systems for the NFL and the NBA, but with baseball, it's so much different, and those contingents that surround those AAA teams, those local organizations and clubs that have so much traction with the fans, yet the whole goal for those players who are located there is to get to that next level. So it's a really slippery slope, which brings me to my next question. What to you in the whole sports landscape, it could be professional, it could be collegiate, what do you think has done sport, not even organization or league, what sport has done the best job at shortening the gap between itself and its fans?
I would probably say, and initially I'd probably say the NFL. I would think so, because again, what the NBA and college basketball has done, just continuing to change the way things go, the one and dones, and then now keep a player,
the inner workings,
and then now let's take the G League and make that our minor league system. So I think the NFL has pretty much stayed true. I mean, Major League Baseball has stayed true too, to a certain degree.
To a default sometimes.
To a default,
yeah.
Exactly. So, and again, the way our society is with football, they're so passionate about it more than all the other sports. Again, and that goes back for many, many reasons. I mean, you're playing once a week. You're playing 16 games, now going to be 17 games.
Yep. The television product.
The television product and the way they do it. I mean, it hooks you. It hooks you immediately, and you know what the system is. You know that a guy's not going to go out of high school and then go to play at Alabama for 1 year, and then he's going to jump ship. You know he's going to be there for at least 2 or 3 years. And again, so you have more of that true farm system. And again, so I think the NFL has probably done it right in that regard to what you bring up, and then just in general. I think that's why the ratings are what they are, in the NFL, and they surpass, the NBA and Major League Baseball, the NHL, and all these other sports. So for the most part, I think it's the NHL.
And we talk about, again, that's the role of the media, the role of the broadcast networks. And again, to a default, sometimes they have too much power. The revenue is too big in certain areas that glosses over the importance of the fan. But in many ways, the fan has such a close connection, as you just said, TC, because of the availability and the fact that football is just always out there in the open.
Jacob Walters says that it's the NBA in his mind. Nancy Gabriel agrees with the NFL as closing the gap.
I think, just a personal opinion here, I think as far as the powers that be, the NBA has done a much better job than the NFL. I just think that football as a whole, like TC just said, kind of has just such a head start that basketball, no matter what they do, because in recent years, under Silver has been great, but they're always just kind of going to be nipping at the heels.
Well, I think with the NBA, though, and get your thoughts on this, a lot of it, though, stems from, I think they're not pushing teams as much as they're pushing individuals.
Absolutely. And I think I think not only is that a huge thing, I think it's for the betterment of the game. Because I've mentioned this before, it's a big age demographic thing as far as which side you align with. I'm big on player empowerment. I'm big on player movement. And I think that it works in the NBA compared to other sports. And that's why the NBA has been able to separate itself through the free agency and the offseason periods.
Do you think baseball needs to do something like that, start marketing stars versus teams?
Yeah, they're short on that. There's no question about it. And in that order, it is NBA, NFL, and then Major League Baseball, probably a distant third, with that.
Yeah.
But again, you look at the other side of that as well, too. When you look at what the NBA does, they're with constant change. And a lot of fans don't like that, especially if you're a traditionalist. You don't like the look that they're changing uniforms all the time. The NBA had this long history where the home team was always wearing white, okay? Or if you're a Laker or a Warrior fan, you're wearing gold. And now all of a sudden, you're wearing the away jersey. Now you're not even doing that. Let's look at the Utah Jazz. They look like the Flaming Hot Cheetos. What are they wearing? Seriously. When did red, orange, and gold come into play for the Utah Jazz? Are you kidding me? So I think there is a big disconnect, especially with older fans.
Yeah.
And, not to use the age demo thing, but it plays in effect.
No doubt.
And, the younger generation, they're all into the individuals. They want to, market that. But, again, there's a slippery slope there when you do that, because you lose tradition and you lose teams, and especially fans have not got a chance to go see NBA games for the past year or so. So who knows what it's going to be like when they come back.
Right.
So
and remember, the resting of the players was such a big issue the past couple of years. So even when there are fans able to be there, pre-COVID, that was a growing issue.
And there's a style of play,
right,
with the NBA as well too. I mean, everybody's a 3-point shooter now. And you talk to guys like we mentioned, Bill Cartwright. I mean, they don't like watching it. I mean, if you're a 7-footer now, you are expected to shoot, not just the outside shot, but to shoot threes. And I asked Bill on my show the other day, I said, in your 16-year career, how many 3-point shots did you attempt?
Probably less than 5.
And he knew exactly what it was. It was 3. And did you make any of those? Nope. 0 for 3. And I said, let me guess. They were all, fighting the shot clock. He said, exactly. That's what it was.
And it's crazy to me because in other sports, you kind of have this gradual evolution over the course of 3 or 4 decades. The NBA, this has all happened in the span of 4 or 5 years.
Correct.
It's pretty much all around 2014, 2015, and it exploded ever since then.
Yeah, and let's be honest, the athleticism is there, but the game has deteriorated. If you like team basketball, that has deteriorated big time because of that.
Much like defensive football has deteriorated because of the result of the offensive explosion with the passing game.
And that is more it could not be any more evidenced by an NBA game a couple of weeks ago. And I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the teams, but I see the team needed a 2 to tie, 3 to win, and they were on a fast break, 4-1 fast break. Okay, they all lined up on the 3-point arc. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So they were all on the arc. The key was wide open. Nobody. One defender back, 4-on-1. They all settled on the key for 3. Nobody in the middle.
It's unreal.
There was about 2 seconds left on the clock. They had to throw a shot up from the corner for 3, and they could have tied up. That was wide open. I'm sorry, I don't remember the teams. I just remember seeing the replay of it.
It's like the game kids play on the tiles. That one tile's like hot lava. It's like it's getting to the point where the paint is hot lava now. No one wants to go near it.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's interesting how the games are evolving. Real quickly though, we have one last final break we're going to take. And you have the message over there from our sponsor.
Absolutely. Well, Aaron, TC, it was 1988 when Wahoo's was started by the Lee brothers in Costa Rica, California. They had a desire to blend their unique heritage of food experiences and bring them to the table for others to enjoy and feel more alive. With 5 convenient locations throughout the Las Vegas Valley, there is no reason for you to miss out on the great taste at Wahoo's. As if that wasn't enough, you can take advantage of the $2.95 Pacifico deal, which is an all-day, everyday special. To find your nearest location, simply visit wahoo.com.
And
yeah, right. I love the slow build, that little ellipsis in between there.
I know. And if you sign up today and spend $25 on their match play, I guess they have games and stuff you can play online, they will actually match another $25. Okay, that's cool. The year 25 instantly becomes 50. So check it out, wahoos.com. Now, next week's guest, I'm kind of jumping the shark a little bit because we want to do this with TC. You know, the tournament right around the corner, right? The NCAA tournament teams and the conferences are lining up right now.
Boy, did we miss it last year.
Yeah, right, exactly. Felt so bad, right? Right as everything was. I think games were actually in progress just starting last year when they had to stop everything. But Ashton Ferguson from Opportunity Village is going to be our guest because they've got a great thing going on as a fundraiser for them. I want to say it's Opportunity Village Hoopla.
Yeah.
Right?
You got it?
Jeez. I can't remember.
Hoops Hoopla.
Hoops Hoopla. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but that I remember. Yeah. Anyway, so we actually have some brackets we're going to give away. These are like a $50 value bracket. You and I are going to have some fun going into it as well. But as an additional thank you for joining us, TC Martin's going to get one of those brackets on our behalf, and Opportunity Village to have some fun with our bracketology. So we'll get you one of those brackets. I know Andy has them, and we'll get you those as well. So we have those. We're going to be getting, hopefully, you and I will be involved. Some other folks will be involved in that bracketology.
Yeah. And looking forward to having Ashton on next week. That
should be a lot of fun.
That should be excellent.
And just for people that don't know, I've been involved with Opportunity Village for many years, from the football side and the basketball side, and bringing a lot of athletes to the campuses there. It is a fantastic organization. Just really a fantastic organization. And this Hoops Hoopla, get involved in it. It's fun. You can win some fantastic prizes as well, too.
Right.
So get involved with Opportunity Village.
And I love because we like to emphasize the fact that even though we are tackling this on a national level, we are not going to shy away from the fact that we're locally based in Las Vegas. And Opportunity Village has such a strong reputation here in Las Vegas. I'm just personally really excited for other people to kind of get to witness and kind of get to soak in what they bring to the table and have now for so long. They have such a solid track record here for a number of years in town. So I'm looking forward to people who aren't located in the Valley to see what that's all about. And they'll get a glimpse next week when we start getting into the Hoops Hoopla with Ashton Ferguson and more things we have in store in terms of our relationship.
Yeah, if people aren't familiar with Opportunity Village, they've been in the Las Vegas Valley with 4 campuses over the past 40 years. And they do a fantastic job giving jobs to disadvantaged adults with disabilities. And all of the campuses is just fantastic. Giving these people who have disabilities jobs. It's just a fantastic organization. So support Opportunity Village when you can.
Very proactive. You could tell they really want to take a stand and make something of themselves, as opposed to just being there for to rest on their laurels. They mean to do something deeper in town.
Their winter thing that they do.
The Winter Wonderland.
It's amazing.
The Enchanted Forest.
Yeah. The Enchanted Forest. When I was a Kiwani, we used to go there and work it.
Yep.
It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
It definitely was a great way to give back. Okay, so a couple other things I just want to kind of touch on and get your thoughts on. Allegiant Stadium, okay, other than some teams that have set foot in there, obviously that beautiful facility is not being used the way it was intended. Was not used, of course. What's your thoughts on the fact that they're giving tours to folks, PSL folks first? They have 2 options. For like $60 you can go in and just get a view, and then for $80 you get like a drink and a view. And so what's your thoughts on something like that? As a fan, as a regular fan, not having an opportunity, I don't know that I'd be happy about it, not having a chance, but what's your thoughts?
Well, this goes a lot deeper than that. This goes back to, if you're old enough, you remember, and I was a Northern California guy, I remember when the PSL started, and that was Al Davis that started that. And going back in those days, it was like $2,500 just for the right to buy a seat and buy a season ticket. And now those prices have escalated up to $20,000 to $25,000. Oh, yeah, it's and even more than that. And again, in the pandemic, when you can't have fans in your building, and I understand why Mark Davis did what he did. They could have allowed fans and maybe 8,000 or 10,000 fans to come to the games, but he said, nope, if one can't, 65,000 can't, we're not going to do it. We're going to wait on this. We're going to open this up next year where everybody can do it and we have a true celebration. Okay, that's okay. But really what's not okay is to limit who can get in that building and take a peek at it, because there are close to 60,000 season ticket holders, okay? And not all of them are being able to come in there and do that. And with those PSLs getting scooped up the way they did, and a lot of people don't have the income to do that.
Right.
And so for the average fan, you're not going to be able to get into the game. The least you could do is at least, if you're a Raider fan or an NFL fan, to have an opportunity to go through a general tour. I'll use Green Bay as a perfect example because they were one of the first ones that did it. They have the Packer Hall of Fame there, and they do the stadium tours 365 days a year. People travel throughout the world to come and see Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a landmark, right?
Exactly. And it is cheap. You can go do a stadium tour for under $20.
But then again, it's owned by the fans.
Well, again,
in theory,
exactly.
Right. In theory.
Exactly. But the point is, it's open to the public.
Sure.
It's anybody. And
Right.
I don't understand why any team or franchise or stadium would not want to do that for their fan base. You shouldn't limit it to just, who are the season ticket holders, who has the PSLs, who has the high price seats. And it should be wide open to everybody, especially here in Las Vegas where the NFL is new.
Yeah, brand new. And even before it came, the hype, the buzz that surrounded everything Raiders related, even when the last 3 years they were in the Bay Area, the buzz did not hesitate at all. It was right off the bat, full head of steam. And that's what's interesting to me, because you mentioned tours, getting your eyes, or, just your feet on the ground and your eyes in the venue. And whenever venues on a professional level do that, even if it's something small, like a little charitable event that they have at the day, they're always hugely successful.
And not only that, but you get into the situation too, when you go do a tour, you've got an opportunity to buy souvenirs.
Yeah.
The pro shop is open, all those things. So if you're going for a tour, you're going to spend money, and that's money that's going to the organization. So
they're going to benefit either way.
Exactly. It's a total win-win for fans. It's a total win-win for the organization.
Yeah. And we need goodwill right now.
Yes.
Especially as fans are good. But we were talking about that last week, about how these organizations can do things to welcome fans back as a show of good faith. Didi Nieto puts into the chat room that she was, and I'm using her words, suckered out of $5,000 by the Raiders.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that might have been simply just get on that PSL list for the right to buy, your tickets. It's crazy. It's a whole nother business. There are organizations like the Packers, the New York Giants football. Those tickets are handed down generationally.
Correct.
Yeah. So there's all, so
it's hard to get your foot in the door.
Absolutely.
And that's why if you could at least give people a glimpse, that makes all the difference, because at least they know we may not be able to get in on game day, but we know how the venue functions. We know how the stadium looks, the aesthetic of it. We can at least feel a little bit more a part of it, especially when you throw in the debate that has been existing for decades of taxpayers' money, billionaires not using their own money. Yep. That all goes into the same conversation, the same discourse, and it's been deeply rooted.
Right, and it's been for a very long time. And I remember Ron Bloomberg when he was like the first free agent that was signed back in the first DH back in the day with the Yankees in the mid '70s. How that changed, even to the point now where DH is coming into the National League now, where they're going to unify it. And again, fans don't have an opportunity to voice their opinion about the DH. I mean, they have. Yeah. A lot of times in a 30-second call to a sports show, they
or on
voice
Twitter
it.
or something.
Exactly. So now, without having the opportunity to hear it from a general scope to see how it impacts the teams in this sport, fans now have to just suck it up and say, well, okay, they're going to it. I don't like it, so what do we do? So all these things going into the stadiums, all that stuff, this is all compounding the ability for fans really to stay part of the game. We saw it with the Knights when the first year, all that great success, right? They were giving away tickets for people to show up. The second year, because they went to the finals, $200 or $300 for nosebleed. You can't get in unless you're a corporate.
And it's so ironic, given the fact that what the Knights were able to accomplish in their first year was one of the greatest sports fandom-related storylines you could ever ask for, regardless of the sport, regardless of the era. And then the next year, who's left out in the cold left out in the cold, hanging out to dry? It's the fans.
And in a city at that time that needed something like that.
Yeah.
For its
given
healing,
what happened.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then to turn
in
around.
October.
Yeah. Then to turn around, not what we want to be able to accomplish. So, any other final thoughts? We only have a couple of minutes left as the clock is starting to wind down. JoinTheFan.com. Get there. Become part of our universe. You still have 5 minutes left, unless something has already happened that I don't know about. Become a member while the show is still on the air, and you'll get one of these great certificates from Hand and Stone Massage and Facial Spa for your thank you. That's a $59.99 value for the massage, and that offsets the cost of becoming a lifetime member.
And I have one more question here for TC before we get out of here. Now, again, long career, and even before you got into broadcasting, you were just very involved in the world of sports. You have a lot of experience coaching. You have experience in promotion and management. I just want to ask you this, as a local talk show host who also keeps his thumb on the national buzz, what do you think in the current sports landscape is the biggest roadblock for fans? What do you think is hindering the fans? And again, we could talk about affordability, the lack of representation, but what, in your eyes and in your experience, what do you think is holding back the fans more than anything else right now?
I think you kind of hit it there. I think it is the cost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for a lot of people, it is the cost of going to these games, and you wish that there was a way for organizations to make it more affordable. But again, prices are not going to get lowered.
Right.
And I kind of like what the Atlanta Falcons have done when they constructed the Mercedes-Benz stadium there.
Right.
They lowered concession prices. And it was the lowest concession prices of anywhere in the league. And at least you're giving fans a little give back, with that situation.
You throw them a bone.
Exactly.
Right.
You do it. But, I mean, we all know, guys, when we go to the stadium, it doesn't matter what it is. I mean, we see Jerry Jones charging $150 for a parking spot on some asphalt and concrete. I mean, it just doesn't resonate well with fans. So, again, I think, the escalation of prices to get in, because more and more people now can't afford to go to the games, and they're relegated to watching at home on television. So to me, I think that's the biggest roadblock.
We just pulled up, Aaron, our producer, pulled up what the current concession stand prices are.
Can you believe that? That's a great story right there.
There you go. Pretzel for $2. Now you can actually feed a family on some of that stuff for about $30 and not feel like you had to go get a mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, $2 for a Coca-Cola.
No.
I mean, think about that. When was the last time you could say that?
Right.
Back in when I was about 20.
Back in my day.
Back in my day, when I had to travel uphill both ways to and from school. Anyway, listen, we're just about out of time. Great stuff. Thank you for joining us today, man.
Oh, glad to be here,
Yeah,
guys.
we really appreciate the insights. We really appreciate the time.
If there's somebody listening right now who's probably on the fence about becoming a member of the fan, what would you tell them as a sports fan?
I said unite, baby. That's what you got to do. You got to get fans to unite, and the only way you can get your voice heard is for fans to come together, and you do have a voice, plain and simple. What Andy and you guys have constructed here is a fantastic forum for all fans, and just highly encourage you to get involved and become as one. And this is the forum where it starts.
Right on.
We got an endorsement from a maverick in sports talk radio. How awesome is that?
Well, listen, I can't wait for the opportunity to go on his show and talk about the fan.
Absolutely.
We'll
definitely reciprocate. Absolutely. 100%, guys.
We'll make the big time there.
Fun stuff. Yeah.
Brett, final thoughts, sir. What's cooking in your mind before we head out and say goodbye?
Quite frankly, get online and become a member. Those are my final thoughts. Again, we need you. We need your voice. We need your support. We need your passion. Again, those gripes, that beef that you've had for such a long time, all those complaints and those concerns, you now have an outlet. You now have a voice, a platform to channel them and get them out there. So do it. Go to jointhefan.com, become a member, and catch us next week, same time, same place, for Episode 4.
Episode 4.
Rise of the Fan.
Ashton Ferguson from Opportunity Village will be here. We'll talk about what's going on there and the Hoopla event for the basketball tournament. We appreciate it. I was just going to say, Lisa put in there hashtag unite, but I think we need to expand that. Hashtag sports fans unite. Is that a good one? Our SEO guru is here.
His eyes aren't lighting up, so he may have some.
Well, no. He
right.
just looked at me and placated me and get okay. So I don't know.
We're gonna get this going too. My rising phoenix here.
All right, from everybody here, Rise of the Fan. Remember, jointhefan.com is where you, as a sports fan on any level of fandom, can have a voice to share what you want to see done, or at least have some ideas shared. For Brett, for Aaron E. on the board, for our special guest TC Martin, we thank you all for tuning in. Remember, be kind to everybody. Why is that? We're all we have. I'm Aaron Phillips. We'll see you next week right here on Rise of the Fan.